Hello, hello, hello. Here we are, pretty close to on time. Um, I don't know if Cherie can hear us, but I'm getting a notification that says that her devices are not connected. So log out maybe and try again. I don't know. Um, it was a busy weekend for a lot of people, I suppose. That's my YouTube. We had the big Super Bowl this weekend. So how was did everybody's team win or did somebody's team lose? How did that go for everyone? Dave,
My,
what was your experience for the Super Bowl?
oh, it was fun. It was fun watching Brady play, but I had a bet with Daniel and I had Kansas City, so
Uh,
obviously I lost.
I didn't have a bet with anybody, but I did. I had, if I had, my money would have been on Kansas City. I was quite surprised, honestly. Um,
Yeah.
Even though Tom Brady is evidently the GOAT, I guess.
Yeah, man. He's something else.
I guess, even though he's aging a bit, right?
7. Yeah, I was watching a story about him today on I think on the Today show, and they were talking about how he works out and what his diet consists of. He doesn't eat any white sugar, any dairy. Um, oh my gosh, I wish I could remember all the things, but it was all the food I eat that he doesn't eat.
He doesn't eat.
So, if that tells the story, there you go. It
I
was
uh, I,
fun.
re-
We've
I
been watching the Super Bowl with our friends for 21 years. We trade houses every other year. So we did that via Zoom this year. So that was interesting. I guess we still get to keep counting since we were in each other's living rooms. That's it.
that's
That's it. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I remember you saying that you were having a Zoom thing during the halftime. You had to run and get on your Zoom call. I think that's pretty cool, actually.
It was fun, except our friends were ahead of us about a minute and a half.
Oh
So,
no.
I know. So it's like Dave couldn't hide his excitement. So we could always tell if there was if there was a bad play, or we knew if there was going to be a touchdown or whatever. Like shit, man.
Let me say hi to everybody in the chat really quick before I carry on. We have Not My Verbiage. Linda is with us, and Catnip, the super mod. Dark Side of the Moon. Hello, how are you? And let me see. Sean. Hey, Sean, it's good to see you. Nice to have you here. And Neverly. Hi, Neverly, darling. My West Coast homie. Yeah, that's cool. So I did that with with the basketball game a few years ago a couple of years ago when I was living in California with my mom. It was the year that the Golden State Warriors fell to the Toronto Raptors, but it was pretty crazy those last games that they played. And My niece was back in Utah, and she called me on the phone and, are you watching the game? And I had turned it off because I knew that Golden State was going to lose that particular game, or I was concerned that they were. And I just was like, I didn't want to be heartbroken. And so I just turned it off. And she said, you got to turn it back on, turn it. And so I turned it back on, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I just hollered, oh my gosh, Clay just sunk a 3-point shot. And she's like, what? And it was the same thing. They were a little bit like 10 seconds delay. And I said, we just won. And she's like, what are you talking? And I felt so bad because I didn't know that it would be like that. So I felt bad. I said, oops, sorry. Sorry to be the spoiler, but it was really good. She was like, oh no, I'm just glad they won. I don't care. So it It was not like a Zoom call thing, but yeah, I did kind of the same thing. So, but I guess Cherie is having some technical difficulties, or rather, some techno difficulties. So
Well,
I'm sure she'll join us as soon as she can.
maybe we haven't done a show since she got our new phone.
That could be, could very well be.
All right.
Um, so what news do you have for us from Daniel? I know we don't want to give too much away because I know that you had a conversation about the book probably, and so we'll save that for Thursday. But did you get to talk to Daniel this week?
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's what were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about today we were talking about like the most romantic Valentine's Day you ever put together. But the bad part is our call was um it disconnects a lot. It's weird. Like the I guess they don't have enough bandwidth or whatever, but today was horrible. I bet out of 25 minutes or so, I bet we were black air frozen for like 6 minutes
Oh,
at
that's
three different times. So it was super annoying. Anyway, right when he was starting to tell me the best one that he ever did for one of his girlfriends, it went black and then it never came back. So
God.
tomorrow I'll get that story.
Oh,
Um,
good.
else he got a book. Gosh, I wish I can't think of the guy's name, but he's a bodybuilder. Um, and he had interviewed Jenny, Daniel's sister, a year or two ago. And so he had written a book about bodybuilding. And at the end of the book, he dedicated a couple pages to Daniel's story.
Oh, wow.
And so he had just gotten that in the mail. Um,
Oh,
he really had moved ahead to chapter 4 because I don't think he realized that when our call got canceled last week that it made us not be able to talk about chapter 1 and 2. Isn't that what we were doing?
right.
We ended
Yes.
up just doing chapter 1. Um, Jim's been, or his yard has been being canceled all the time. It seems like I don't know what's going on with that, but he said today it was like 15 degrees there, so
Ooh,
it wasn't like anyone was real excited about going to the yard for an hour and a half. So
gosh, I guess.
um, I don't know. It's kind of a blah few days since the weather's been cold.
Oh, oh, Linda said she was stuck in limbo somewhere. God, I know how that feels. Like my head is limbo.
Hmm.
So when we were talking about the game, Catnip said there was a game on. Yeah, I guess it's an American thing, right? It's Americans love their football and soccer and I guess basketball. Nobody really talks about basketball with me. Nosy did for a minute. She's an NBA fan, but yeah, there was a game on Catnet. It was a pretty big deal. So I didn't watch it. I could just hear the noise outside of my room, out in the living room with everybody hooping and hollering. So yeah, I know you were kidding. um, you watch? Do they watch? Is that like a thing in Canada, Kat? Where I shouldn't have said that, I guess. But do they watch the Super Bowl, the American playoff games and things like that? Hi, Alice. Nice to see you. Um, so Cherie said that she doesn't know what's going on. She's got a new phone, but she said she doesn't know why it's saying that her devices aren't connected, but she's going to reboot everything and see if she can get back in. Um, hey, Jack. Nice to see you. I'm glad you guys are here. Um, so we've been really, really super busy. And like I said, we're not going to be covering. I'm not sure if I had many people misunderstand me last week when I said that I made the little announcement that we weren't going to be covering any of the coming accusers, but only just for a few weeks. We're going to continue to do like impromptu chats on Tuesdays or things like that, but we're not going to be spending a lot of time preparing um, material for the next accuser. So we're still going to be here on Tuesdays, just not preparing slideshows and big presentations. I don't know, it'll be a nice break for everybody for not to have to sit through 2 hours. And I feel like I just make one. Yeah, I'll let her know, Jack. Jack says if Cherie needs a boot, I'm your guy. Yeah, she just the last couple of weeks she's just had a little bit of with the new phone and trying to get everything all connected and whatnot. Oh, she might be here. There she is. With the new phone. There's our Cherie. Hi, Cherie. She might be here.
Hello.
There she is. You made it. Hi, Cherie. Oh, I hear somebody's YouTube in the background.
It was
Jack says,
mine. I turned it off.
oh, okay. Cherie, Jack says if you need a boot, he's your guy.
I need some help with technical stuff sometimes. I know that.
Yeah, he is your guy. Well, he helps me with quite a lot of stuff all the time. So he's definitely got the know-how. And you know what he also has besides the know-how is the patience of who is that, Job? Oh my gosh, if he can stick with me and walk me through stuff, then he he trooper, because I don't always get stuff very quickly or very easily. Kat says that yes, they do watch the football game, the Super Bowl and stuff. So that's good to know. I guess there are some things about Americans that other countries appreciate. That was really bad. God, the FBI or Secret Service is going to come after me or something for saying that. Anyway, so with me, it's just always one excuse after another. I had the video that I wanted to show you last week that didn't get uploaded in time. I went back and just made sure that there were some that everything was. I was going to add in a few more pictures and some different stuff that I had found, and which was fine. And then the program that I used crashed, and I hadn't saved it, I guess, all of it. The new stuff that I had added, I hadn't saved it. So it's been a dyslexia day, as Linda pointed out for me. As everybody probably saw, that I misspelled the word addition, and so yeah, that's just, sometimes I do that. I do know how to spell. It just, my fingers don't want to keep up with my brain or something. I don't know. Anyway, so we're going to still talk. We're going to still show the video. It'll be, it shouldn't be too much longer, and it'll be finished uploading. In the meantime, I had mentioned in the chat that I was hoping that we could get some of you in chat to put in your questions or comments that you have about Sherry Ellis, what you heard, what we were able to show you last week. I'm just wondering if there's anybody, if you have questions or any comments that you'd like to make, or if you'd like to come on to the into the StreamYard with us, you can give your voice, your opinions verbally, and that would be fine too. So um, if anybody, please feel free to ask any questions or make any comments. I will tell you guys this. So we all know that Daniel is innocent of the charges, his conviction, and we know that he didn't do any of the things that he said. T1 asked me in Discord the other night, if there was even any small chance, and I'm not quoting these words, but any chance that Daniel did even just one of the things that he was accused of. And he barely hit enter on that. And I said, no, there's no chance whatsoever. I just, there's not one part of me that has any doubt whatsoever in Daniel and his innocence. And so I wonder if there's anybody in the chat, if there's like even one little doubt in your mind, um, put a number one in there. Just type a number one. Or if you have no doubt in your mind that he's innocent, type in a number two. I'm just kind of curious to see what other people believe. I know the three of us on this panel believe 100% in his innocence. Alice, you think did I ask that question wrong? I must have asked the question wrong. So if you believe he's 100% innocent, you're putting in a 2. That works. That's fine. But and I'm pretty sure that Kay has told us this before, but do you want to share with us when you realized that Daniel had been railroaded? Do you mind sharing that with us?
Well, I mean, I really think it was in that 2-hour interview, because that's really all I had access to. So after I watched it once, I was horrified. And then I watched it a few more times, looking at his body language and just looking at Kim Davis's body language, because I didn't know Daniel at the time. So I didn't really have any kind of insight on what his personality was like, or I didn't know any tells to look for. I mean, now that I know Daniel, it's easy to see that he's 100% innocent. Plus, I've been through all of the cases all the way through, and it's just ridiculous. I mean,
Right.
it should have never happened. But in the in the 2-hour interview, the point at the end, after they take his pants and he's changed into these different clothes, and Gregory comes back in and he says, and he's talking to Daniel. He says, like, Daniel says, well, would it be okay if I tell my family about this? And he says, yeah, it's your life, man. Do what you want. And then Daniel's kind of putting his gear that they're not going to take from him, kind of organizing it. And he just takes this big inhale and just exhales like, what the hell, and he says, so what goes on from now? When he said that, the way he said that, it's just like, he's so frustrated. And so, I mean, you could tell, obviously, you didn't have to know him to tell that he was swimming in that inside his head, trying to process all that had happened and all that was happening. It all just happened so quickly that he lost everything that he worked so hard for. But yeah, I mean, I think it was right there in that initial interview. What about you guys?
What about you, Sherry?
Well, I definitely think the interview was convincing. I still wasn't sure, but the more I heard, but really once we got deeper into the back, how they rounded up the accusers, so to speak, and saw, how they approached it. And, if it didn't match the AVL, they made it match the AVL. And it's just like, this is completely messed up, bogus. And just unbelievable that they would go do that to somebody. But we see it happens over and over.
I'm talking away and my doggone mic's muted. That's usually somebody else's little trick. um, but yeah, I think I've told you guys that the reason I even know about the case is because of Jack, and just a chat that he and I were having about just wrongful convictions, just different cases, besides Stephen and Brendan. And I knew of others, and it was, but nothing that I'd ever really dove into. But Jack asked me if I'd ever heard of seen Daniel in the Den, and I said no, I haven't seen it. I had seen it, come across in, when I would be looking for YouTubes and things, I would see it, but I never bothered to stop and look at it. And he said, "Oh my gosh, you gotta check out Daniel in the Den because it was just unbelievable what had happened to this cop." And so all right, so I did. I watched it, I think that very day or that very night, and just from watching Daniel in the Den, I was like, what am I watching? What am I seeing here? And I thought, there's TV and editing and all that stuff. And I thought, well, I need to go further because, there's possible that there's some editing, that I'm just not seeing the whole truth. And oh my gosh. So when I watched the 2-hour interview, I thought I was going to lose my mind. I mean, I was furious. Livid. I was just so angry at the way that the detectives conducted the interview. I was shocked. I mean, and it's not easy to shock me. I'm a really, really open and um, just like down to earth person, and so it's not easy to shock me at all. But when I saw the way they behaved and the way they spoke to him, and I get it, there were times I think, well, they're just trying to get on a cop's level. I imagine there's, that kind of locker room kind of or office talk, with cops. I don't know, never been a cop, but I just thought, maybe. But it just went on and on and on. And the talk of, Rocky and Kim's personal masturbation habits just blew my freaking mind. I was really upset by it. I was really angry. But when I finished with the video, I just thought, man, I mean, I was like Kay. I tried to just watch the body language of Daniel, and I couldn't stand to watch Kim Davis, but um, her language was, it told me enough. But oh my gosh, um, I by the time I got through that video, I was the same way. I mean, I went into it with a completely open mind because I had no idea what I was, what truth I was going to find. But oh my goodness, it was shocking. So, yeah, that's kind of, by the time I finished with the video, um, the interrogation video, I was definitely convinced. And then I just needed to know more. And so it just went on and on from there. And then here we are today, right? So, so last week we talked about, we talked about Sherry Ellis, and I showed for you guys, well, I played for you guys the video. It's kind of grainy, but I played the video of her face-to-face visit with uh, Kim Davis. And I just was wondering if anybody had any questions or any comments or anything that they saw or heard in that video that they believe was different from what they know of elsewhere, like reading the crime report or the OCR, the criminal, what is it called? Police report. If you've been to Bates' website, holtzclawtrial.com, you can find all of the police reports in there. And I don't know how many of you have gone in and read some of those, but wow, they're, again, I've never been a cop, so I don't know how police reports are written, but I just I found it very convoluted in a lot of those reports. And so regarding Sherry Ellis's case particularly, I'm just wondering, Kay and Cherie, uh, what if you have, as many times as you've watched it and read police reports and things like that, have there been any little things that you've picked up on that have been sort of like inconsistencies or anything like that that you want to point out? Or
Well, I think it's just really interesting how Davis drafts a police report. Um, so the first thing Sherry Ellis says is that that yes, she was assaulted, and it was a short black guy. And so when she writes the report, in the absence of the actual accusers writing a statement, which only Janie Liggins did, which I find that strange in itself, that everyone didn't have to write a statement about what happened to him like Janie Liggins did. So in the absence of those statements, the police should have used direct quotes, but their quotes, we know they can't be trusted to use direct quotes, because where there are recordings of the interviews, uh, they both, Rocky and Kim, both don't use quote. They'll put something in quotes, but it won't really be a quote. Or they won't put it in quotes, and they'll completely mischaracterize what is being said. And that happened in Sherry's report. And Kim waits until the very end to mention, like as an aside, that the description was, XYZ. It was a short black man. So, I mean, I guess it doesn't carry as much weight if you wait till the end of the report to say it, because you say all the horrible things that he did first. So by the time you get to the description doesn't match, then people are already emotional about it, I guess.
I think that's a great point. Because you know what? I think there's a lot of, I don't know if she intends it to be this way because she's such a weirdo, but there's some psychology that goes into the way, at least it looks like the way some of those reports are written. Well, maybe it's not even psychology. Maybe it's just plain, just literal falsehoods and nefarious, lies and activities and whatnot. But I think there is some psychology to it, and whether she intended it or not. But to put it at the end, like you said, they're already whoever's reading that report is already emotionally attached to the dirty stuff that she writes beforehand. And if to you guys in the chat, if you haven't read any of the police reports, I'm not saying they're easy to read, especially, well, I don't know, especially, but excuse me, but Rocky Davis's report for Terry Morris, it's a little, it could even actually be a little boring, but once you get used to how to read these reports, you can figure out how to get through them a little quicker. But the stuff, what is it called when you flood something with useless information? I don't know. I know there's a phrase that people use, but my point is that Rocky Gregory in his report for Terry Morris, I think, what was it, like 3 pages? If you read that police report, there's like 3 pages of him putting down the date and the times and where he went to look for Terry Morris. Padding, that's probably a good one, Jack. Yeah, they just, all this other useless information around the facts that get you just like twisted and get your mind going somewhere else, and then you get to the meat of it, and but it's all that other stuff that comes in that he puts in before. It was insane. I know Cherie and Kay and I were trying to read that oh my goodness, it's been months ago. We were trying to read it, in parts, in Discord one night, and it was just mind-boggling how Rocky Gregory had to put every single place that he went and the time that he went, who went with him, and it was usually Tim Musney, whatever his name is. It went with him, which was odd, and we commented on that we thought that was kind of odd because, how often does the lieutenant go out with the detectives to search for somebody? He usually have other better things to do or other things he should be doing, and um, anyway, he goes with him on several of these things where he's trying to find Terry Morris, but then he fills it in with I went here at this time and I did this. And then this person responded with, whatever. And it's like 3 pages of that, you guys. It's insane. It was just useless information that I don't know what he must have been trying to show. Well, and as Kay reminds me every time when we talk about this, it's just to make him look like a lot of the things he did, a lot of the places it doesn't even really feel like he really went to or really spoke to someone. And we were able to start picking out the ones that we thought were definite lies about where he had been or what he had done. Um, but it just looks like I am so dedicated to finding the person who assaulted her that, I'm doing all of this work to make sure that it's, we take care of her. And I don't know, when you listen, and if you've listened to the other, podcasts that we've done on the Terry Morris interviews, oh my gosh, he did nothing but badger and hound, terrorize and abuse that poor woman. And it just makes us sick. It makes me sick, what he did to her. But then calls, Daniel Holtzclaw this beast and this predator and psychopath and all those ugly words that he used about Daniel. And I thought, you know what? You're no better. You are no better. In fact, I felt like he was worse. So, but in Sherry Ellis's case, yes, there was so much, uh, fixing or excusing of the description, the black and white car and the description of the officer that assaulted her. And, just like with Janie Liggins, that when she said that her attacker had blonde hair, well, there's all sorts of excuses why somebody would have blonde, somebody with dark hair would have blonde hair in a stop at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's just ridiculous how they shape the stories to fit the narrative, to fit the AVL and the CIU and all those things. And it's really, really, I feel really bad because I always talk about Oklahoma like it's this, horrible place. It's a beautiful place. I have a lot of family in Oklahoma, and I've been to Oklahoma many times, but I don't mean the entire state of Oklahoma, and I don't mean everybody in Oklahoma, but their justice system in Oklahoma, I think, suffers greatly. Well, the system doesn't suffer, the citizens suffer. The system needs to be fixed in Oklahoma, though, and I feel like going to Oklahoma is kind of like, we kind of joke about if you go to Manitowoc, Wisconsin, make sure you bring bail money. Well, I kind of feel the same way about Oklahoma in a sense because, I just feel like, or at least Oklahoma City, but I just feel like if they want to get you for something, then they're going to get you. And it's a little scary. Yeah, I think, Susan, I know you don't live very far from Oklahoma, and you even recognize some of the names of where I mentioned that my family lives. So next time I get out to Oklahoma to pound the pavement trying to find some of these places, people with K, we'll have to see if we can't meet up with you somewhere. That would be a lot of fun. Anyway, Alice says, so they like to havering a lot of shit like sweaty boy. Yeah. Yeah. Deflection is another word too that I like, that I think is a good one for Rocky and Kim's BS reports that they've written. There's a lot of deflecting and stuff. So, Cherie, what are your opinions about Sherry Ellis's case, or the case in general? I guess, I mean, the case we know, but was there anything about Sherry Ellis's report that sticks out to you?
Well, you kind of mentioned the main ones that I can think of right now, U and K, but I was thinking about how you can compare. They must use the same corruption handbook, how to be corrupt handbook in Manitowoc and Oklahoma City. How they also wrote in Manitowoc. They also wrote the reports for the people, at least ones I've seen, and they also tried to fudge them. Like they wouldn't put down what the witness necessarily said sometimes. And then I also thought about Rocky and some of his reports, even though he didn't write Sherry Ellis's, but he'll say, I feel, when she does something or when Terry Morris did something that didn't go well with his story, he would say, but I feel like she was doing this and she was doing it because of this. He was clairvoyant in that way. He could see why people were doing things. So
He
Yeah.
would, yeah, it seemed like she was blah blah blah.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
was trying to, because she was wanting to not let her family know about it. I mean, he just, nothing like that's in quotes.
Right. He doesn't know how to speak much less proper grammar. So,
That's how he feels.
and you know what's surprising to me is, besides the fact that I've never been a cop, I've never been an attorney. I know I know that's a shock to everybody. You guys think I know everything, but just um Cherie can probably answer more to this too, but it just seems to me like those reports, especially when Rocky Gregory says something like it seemed like she was, just trying to avoid telling her family, and it seemed like she really wanted to, and he uses that as fact, and to me that's like the equivalent of hearsay to me. um Maybe I just don't know the definition of hearsay in the legal terms, but I don't know, Cherie, is that something that, like, could possibly some of those things be used as hearsay in the written reports?
I well, the definition of hearsay is an out of court statement put forth for the truth of the matter. So it's like something that somebody said, but they, that you heard somebody say that they weren't in court when they said it, and it's not supposed to be allowed in court, but it's really opinions is what he's using, and he's in. And it's not a fact, it's his opinion, so it shouldn't be in the report, and it shouldn't be taken as a fact. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yet that's exactly, I mean, because that's the way most of the reports are written, to one degree or another. And so, as we know, if any of those things weren't allowed like they shouldn't have been, then Daniel wouldn't be in prison. And Kay,
Right.
when you mentioned, when you were talking about when Rocky at the end of that interview, when Daniel says, can I tell my family? And Rocky says, hey, it's your life, man. You can do what you want. I thought, yeah, but damn good and well, you're about to take his life away from him. So, I just thought it was a really arrogant, cocky, snarky kind of answer from him.
It
So,
was.
I don't know. I mean, I would definitely, if it were me, I would definitely try to figure out a way to make some of those reports considered hearsay. But I mean, it's not. But so anyway, um, What were you going to say, Kay? I am sorry.
Well, you know, that was 5 seconds ago. I already forgot.
You've already blinked a couple times. I'm so sorry. You just have to step on me because I'm a talker. So
I was gonna say that Sherry Ellis also, you know, she added things to her statement in in a subsequent interview, because originally she alleged oral sodomy and rape, but then when she retells her story in another interview, she says that she adds that he touched her breast, butt, and vagina while he was searching her. So that just piled on
yeah,
some
it seems like
sexual battery charges. So, I mean, 62 years he got for someone who said he was a short black man.
yeah, that drove a black and white patrol car, no
Yeah.
less. Yeah, they sure did manage to, and they did it with all the girls. I mean, there were what was it, five of the accusers who he was not guilty on their charges. And it's funny because basically it's believed or said. I'm just going to say believed because I don't know exactly if it's been said anywhere, but um, they when they find him not guilty with these five accusers or however many it was. Um, it's because the jury they didn't convince the jury, or the jury didn't believe them, or something to that effect. And I just thought, well, that doesn't make any sense to a normal, decent, ethical, moral, respectable person. You know what I mean? Because how could any of those stories have been believable to the jury? Is where my brain goes. I just think that's the most ridiculous attitude. And I think that might have been said in the Malkin interview. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that might have been said in the Malkin interview when Michelle Malkin interviews them. When she's talking about, well, how come, I don't remember exactly, and I shouldn't say, but I feel like it's in that interview that I heard that or something to that effect. Alice, the show that you're talking about is maybe, yeah, probably Susan in the different press coverage stories for sure. The show that you guys are talking about where you can see Kim Davis giving an interview without all the blinking, it's 2020 what the dash cam doesn't show, which by the way is the most ridiculous title because there was no dash cam. And I don't know how they were able to get away with that title, but it's very misleading and really, really frustrating that they got away with naming that show with that title, what the dash cam doesn't show. But yeah, it's in that interview where, and my theory is that, Kim feels more in control of the interviews that she gives in that little documentary thing. And she doesn't feel she's not on the defensive at that point. She's watching, she's telling her story without being Michelle Malkin goes at him really hard eventually in that interview. And this lady that's interviewing him in the 2020 show doesn't really go that hard at him. And Kim Davis is able to pretty much control her part of the interview. And I could be wrong, but in those interviews, there's not as much blinking. There is a little bit, but there's a lot more animation in her face. And I don't mean some of the ugly looks that she gave in the Malkin interview, because there's some pretty ugly ones, and I'm really kind of excited for you guys to see the video. I got the best Kim Davis pictures I possibly could to share in this video that I'm going to show you in a few minutes. But I just think that, when she realized, and And here's another challenge. Watch that Malkin interview and watch the first, I don't know, I think it's what, 7 or 8 minutes before they actually begin the interview. And you don't see that excessive hard blinking from her quite yet. And maybe I'm just making it up in my mind, but I'm pretty sure that before that interview gets rolling, there's a lot of just normal kind of blinking, maybe a little excessive, but there are some times that she blinks so hard that it's like she's squeezing her eyes shut. And I just think, gosh, is that like, I need to do some research on the internet and find out if there's a eye blinking disorder or something. I'm sure there is to some degree, but not to her degree. So, um, I'm just going to read some of the comments here really quick. Got going on here in the chat.
I think there is an eye blinking disease, but it doesn't happen only when you're lying. It happens all the time. So.
Right. And I would imagine there's possibly some sort of Tourette's that's involved with a kind of excessive blinking. Maybe, I don't know, but my mind goes there. I think that way. So let's see some of the comments in the chat. Oh, great, Susan. That's awesome. Susan says she's been digging a lot deeper into Daniel's case. Thank you. I love it. Dig hard. Fresh eyes are really good sometimes. Our eyeballs, mine and Kay and Cherie's, and I'm sure others as well, but I just know for the three of us for sure, our eyeballs are like popping out of our heads at times because we have read and tried to pick, I'm a word person. I'm a word or a small phrase person, and I get stuck. I'm falling down rabbit holes all the time. I told Kay and Cherie they're going to have to start bringing me carrots for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and every snack in between because I can't get out of these rabbit holes. But I get stuck on a word or a phrase of something and that might not even cross anybody else's mind. And usually it's not always something that means anything, but I dig until I find out for sure if there's something to it. And so that's one of my problems with, trying to get information together to make presentations and things like that for you guys. Cause I start out with every intention of just, putting together the presentation with the information I have, but then I read a name that I haven't seen before and I'm like, oh, who's this guy? So before I know it, I've spent 4 or 5 hours, doing something other than getting the presentation ready. But so let's see. I want to read a couple more comments. Oh, they were talking about what the dash cam doesn't show. Yep, that's as much as it's in that show. If you haven't watched it yet, there's a couple of interviews. Sherry Ellis is in that interview. I believe Jamie Liggins is in that interview. I can't give you an exact reason why, but Jamie Liggins just sickens me. She just makes me cringe. Everything about her makes me cringe. And I don't know if it's just because she's the one who started this whole chain reaction of injustice or not. But there's an interview, excuse me. There's an interview with her in there, Sherry Ellis, I think Carla Raines, and maybe Kayla Lyles. I think Kayla Lyles is also in it. I'm not sure though. So if you haven't watched it, you should watch it. If for no other reason, just so you can kind of watch, some of these ladies, when they're all dolled up and looking fabulous for TV. And it'll make you angry because it makes me angry to listen to the accusers. I'm going to circle back around now. What I started to say probably 20 minutes ago is that we're trying really hard, Cherie and Kay and I. We're trying to remember that even though these ladies, probably most of them, if not all of them, lied about being assaulted by a police officer, I believe it's possible that some of them were assaulted by a police officer, but they were spoon-fed information and stuff about Daniel to make it be Daniel. Regardless of whether they were assaulted by a police officer or not, they're all victims still. They are still victims, and they are victims of Rocky Gregory, Kim Davis, Tim Musney, Galen Gigger, David Prater, Bill City, all of these people up in Oklahoma City justice system, And so we're trying to remember that, and we try not to, having said that Janie Liggins makes me sick and makes me cringe, it's not a very good example of what I'm going to say, but we're trying to be more mindful of the fact that in very real ways, all of these ladies were victims. So we try really hard not to say nasty, ugly things about them. Obviously, I wasn't trying hard enough. However, I don't hold back very much at all when I'm talking about the detectives and the lieutenants and, the AD or the DA.
Maybe.
I'm even speaking in dyslexic. It's getting crazy now, getting crazy up in here. Anyway, but I don't know. We've kind of had some little chats about it, and I don't know. I'll let if they'd like, Cherie, you can share your opinion about that if you'd like, or not. Thanks for the carrots, Catnip.
What do you mean about the accusers?
Yeah, because we kind of have talked about it, amongst ourselves, that they lied. They still were lying, and they still knew they were doing something wrong. But none of them would have done it, with the exception of Janie Liggins, had they not been
Yeah, I agree.
harassed.
It's just especially Terry Morris. My heart really goes out to her. I think she was used and abused, and just for their own purposes. They wanted to, stop the protesting and the riots, and they used these ladies to make it happen. I mean, and Daniel, of course, got hurt worst of all, but they got used too.
Right. Kay, what do you have an opinion that you'd like to share about that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Cherie. Other than Janie Liggins, who started this whole thing, because we all know that even though they're calling Terry Morris the first victim, once they get their timeline all readjusted and get her on board, she still was coerced to become a part of the case. The case couldn't have moved forward without her, because there was nothing for Janie Liggins that would have made it stick. Kim Davis said that. She said
Right.
that in Daniel in the Den, when you have one, we don't always get things done. But when you have 13 and the MO is the same and the verbiage is the same, then yeah, if you pile it on, then you can make something stick. So if Terry Morris really was raped on the 20th or 21st of May, they didn't do anything to figure out who that was.
Right. Yeah, and I believe that still deep down in my heart, I believe it's entirely possible that Terry Morris was assaulted, but I do believe it was on the 20th or 21st, because she never, until Rocky sobers her up and plies her full of soda pop, she promises her some rehab and things like that. Her story never changed in the times that she retold it, and that's significant, if for no other reason but because Terry Morris was a mess. Like, she was a strung out, mentally ill mess. And it was really, really disgusting what Rocky did to her and the way he spoke to her. And, you know, if you listen to that third interview really closely, um, you know, you can hear Rocky getting really annoyed with her when she's, you know, kind of going off track of what he, you know, and I feel like he doesn't want her going off track, not just because he doesn't want her to, you know, slip up and say something, but because he knows he's worried that, you know, we only have so much time for your memory to retain what we've told you to say. So let's move on. We got, you know, we got to move on with the story while I'm recording it so that, you know, we can get my version of the story out there. But I'm really cynical that way. So,
You know, and don't you think that since they use legitimate stops, that helps the women have a memory to start with because they remember getting stopped by Daniel. The stop really did happen because, you know, that's how they found the women. They got Daniel's AVL and looked up who the women were and sought out the women. However, they had to coerce him to become a part of the case. As we saw, there was no coercion to get Sherry Ellis to become a part of the case. But, you know, she had a few days to think about it. She had a few days to decide if she wanted to be a part of the case because they had left a card with her landlord and asked her to call back. They had told the landlord, like they told many other family members and friends, they told him what was going on. And so she had at least some information to make her decision on when Kim called, when they played phone tag and Kim ended up calling her back.
right. Yeah, it's awful. It's there's not a word, you know, there's not a word for Ken Kratz and uh, Norm Gone and Turtle Lips Fallon. There's no words for them either, but there are even fewer options. I feel like I've mentioned it to a few people, and I hesitate because I don't want anybody thinking that you know I don't think that Kratz is a, you know, a slithering, slimy whatever. But I've come to a point where I feel like the OKC DAs and detectives and lieutenants and whatnot, I think they're worse. I'm sorry, they're just worse. And maybe it's because I don't know. Maybe I don't know. 263 years is, you know, if you kind of try to break it down, it's about 3 lifetimes, you know. And I just think that's disgusting that they felt, you know, they just pat themselves on the back and they think they're so wonderful for what they've done. And what they've done is take the life of an innocent man, really. So, all right. Well, this has been ready for a few minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and share this video. I hope that you enjoy it, and kind of gives a little more life to it than what you were able to hear last week when we played the video, the interview. So here we go.
As promised, just a couple of days later, Ellis arrived at the Oklahoma City Police Department headquarters in downtown Oklahoma City. Ellis then met one-on-one with Detective Davis. The following is the audio from their meeting.
And if you need the restroom or something, tell me and we'll take a break. Just have a seat right there. I'm glad you came in. Were you kind of nervous? I thought you would be. Okay. I'm just going to get some background information from you first, okay? And some of the questions I'm going to ask you, this is what I ask everybody. So I want background information from you, whether it's good, bad, I don't care if you assassinated the president and his dog. It doesn't matter to me. I just am getting the same background I get from all my victims. Okay. So, but let me make sure. Is Sherry Sherry?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's Ellis Ellis.
Yes.
Is your birthday 2/20/75?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where are you living right now?
I'm staying in a room.
Where at?
39th Expressway.
Like a hotel?
Yes.
How long have you been staying there?
I'm going on a month.
Okay. How do I get a hold of you in the future in case this goes to court? Do you have where do you get your mail? Like, do you have a mom's address or a dad's address, or it's a permanent location?
Not really. I can get my mail at my grandma's address, but I don't have her address on me, I don't think.
What's your grandma's name?
But really, I don't want her either. I was going over there to tell her today about what I had to do, and she's old. I really don't want her involved.
If this goes to court and we have to mail you a subpoena, where do you want it mailed?
You gotta ask him.
Okay.
You gotta ask
Okay.
him.
All right.
Because he got a mom that's been over there almost 20 some years over there where I used to stay on 16th and Terrace. So his mama stayed right around the corner, and she's been there for several years. So
and you could
it would be.
Okay. All right. Other than what happened to you, what we're going to talk about today, have you ever been the victim of a crime? Like, have you ever been assaulted? Have you ever been raped? Have you ever been molested as a child?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Now, I know you've been arrested. What? Because you said that you recently got out of prison. What have you been arrested for?
I've been arrested for burglary too.
Okay.
So I went to the penitentiary for.
How much time did you do?
I had 3 years in and 2 years out.
Okay.
I spent 18 months and I got out.
Okay.
I had been in a predicament when I was in Spencer, assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, but state didn't pick that up.
Okay. So it wasn't child. It wasn't filed.
No.
Okay.
But as far as that, I have been probably a couple, maybe 10, 15, 20 years. I don't even think it was that long, but it's been a long time. I got involved with prostitution once, which it really, I don't know why I got caught up in the prostitution, because I wasn't. But the police was doing a sting and they picked me up. And that was probably back in 2000, something like that.
Okay.
Maybe.
What about drugs?
No.
Have you used drugs before?
I used to use weed.
Okay. Any recent?
Mm-mm.
What about crack?
No.
Are you working right now?
No, I'm going to school.
Oh, that's right. You're going to get your GED.
5 days a week.
Where do you go?
OCI.
What's that stand for?
You know where the feds take drug tests and stuff like that? I'm right behind that.
Good for
that
you.
building.
Good for you.
Yeah, I go 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, from 8:15 to 2:45.
Is it hard?
Not really, because I'm focused and ready to do it.
You're ready to get it done.
Yeah, because when I was in the penitentiary, I was trying to get my GED, but I had got out before I could get my GED. So,
did they charge you? Does it cost?
$25.
No, that's not bad. Okay. Are you married? Single?
I'm single.
Have you ever been married?
No. Common law by Terry Matt.
Do you have any kids?
Yes.
How many
I
kids?
have 3.
What are their ages?
20-year-old, 19-year-old, and a 7-year-old.
Do you have custody of the 7-year-old?
No.
Daddy has custody?
No, my cousin.
Did you lose custody when you went to prison?
That's when I was doing cocaine.
What kind of cocaine?
Crack.
I thought you said you didn't use crack.
No, I said I did coke. Well, I don't do it now.
But you have before.
And before, yeah. But I don't do it now, though. You know, going to penitentiary stopped a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it does. Okay.
But when she was born, they took her because I had crack in my system.
Oh, she tested positive. Do you have any medical problems?
High blood pressure. I went to Red Rock.
What'd you get a Red Rock for?
I get medication for the severe depression.
What do you take for that?
Prozac.
Mm-hmm.
Take Jordan for calm me down.
Juridon. I haven't heard of that one.
Jurdon.
Do you have anxiety?
Yes.
Is that what the Juridon's for? Jurdon?
Something like that.
Okay. And Prozac.
And
Do you take medicine for your high blood pressure?
lisinopril.
What is it?
Lisinopril.
Any other medicines?
Zantac, but that's
just for
heartburn.
acid reflux.
Mhm. That's all.
Okay. All right. When I talked to you on the phone, you told me that you thought this happened about 3 months ago.
About 3 months ago. This is
August 5th.
So about 3 months or 4 months ago, it would be like March, April.
When you tell me when you think this happened?
About 4 months ago.
About 4 months ago. Where were you in your life at that time? When did you get out of prison?
I got out of penitentiary in July of last year.
Oh, okay. So you've been out. So when about 4 months ago this happened, where were you living then?
I was staying on 16th Terrace.
With who?
With Terry.
With Terry Mack?
Yes.
16th Terrace.
2258 Northeast 16th and Terrace.
2258 Northeast 16th Terrace.
Yeah.
Now, were you off on the dope and stuff then?
Yeah, I was off.
Okay. No, you were off dope then.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What time did you leave his house? Why were you out? You see what I'm saying? What were you doing that day?
It was before 12 o'clock.
Before midnight?
I had left my house. I was staying with Terry. I had left my house on my way to my cousin's house.
On foot or in a car?
I was on foot.
Who's your cousin?
My cousin Dion. Her name is Dion Thomas, but she lives up the street. Where I was walking when I was on my way. She stayed like maybe 4 blocks down.
Why were you going over there?
Because it's my cousin and my nieces, my nephews. I go over there all the time.
How do you spell Dion?
Dion.
Okay. But that's a female.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when you go, kind of draw me a picture from which way you went and stuff when you were walking. It don't have to be perfect because I can not draw stick people. So.
This is my house. There was a block. I passed the block. And then half a block after that is when I got stopped.
So this is 16th. Did you get to the next street?
Okay, hold on. This is Highland.
Uh-huh.
I went right here. This is 16th.
Okay.
I crossed 16th.
Okay.
Down, still going down Highland.
And before then
there was another block. Okay.
Okay.
I passed 16th.
Okay.
Kept on going. There was a block.
Okay.
I passed that. Before I could get to the other block in the middle.
That's what it's okay. Let me kind of. To Highland. Past 16th. Past next street. We don't know what it is. Before the next street. Okay, what happened? How'd you know a police car was there?
I was walking, and when I turned around, he had come from behind me because I wasn't.
You didn't see him driving.
I wasn't paying attention to the back of me. I was just walking.
Okay.
So I'm walking, and then next thing I know, lights behind me.
Like car lights or
his
these
lights?
Just headlights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Behind me, and then he pulled up, and that's when I realized that it was police.
Because you turned around.
Because I turned around. Yeah, I turned around. That's when I found out it was a police.
Now, were his overhead lights on or anything? You just saw that it was a police car.
Yeah, because
Okay.
he pulled up behind me.
Okay.
Like,
Then what?
he asked me to stop. And,
Was he in the car when he asked that, or was he out?
He pulled over and got out
He got out.
and to ask me what was my name, and I told him, and he said, "Well, can you come back here with me? Come back here for a second, talk to him." So I was by the police car.
On the driver's side or the passenger side?
On his driver's side. And he asked me my name, like I said, and then I had my purse, and he asked me if I had anything illegal in my purse, and I said no, which I didn't. So he's like, "Well, will it be all right if I check you to see if you have anything illegal on you?" And I'm like, "No," but I wasn't thinking I don't think a man's supposed to do that, but anyway.
But did you say no? Or did you say no, I don't care?
Don't have any. I said, "No, I don't care."
Oh, you said no. Okay. Okay. So you said no, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't know if you were saying no, I don't care, or no, you can't check me.
No.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
And then he said turn around, and I had my arms out, and he checked me. And
Were your hands on the car, or were you just standing like
I was standing
this?
like this.
Kind of like a scarecrow? Okay.
And
What did he do when he checked you?
he checked me, and then he checked me all like that, and
Did he touch your boobs like that?
yeah, and then he went between my legs and did that. Like
Did
that,
what?
Like that,
Did
between my legs.
just like that? So did he touch your vagina on the outside of your pants?
Hmm?
Did he touch your bottom on the outside of your pants?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said, "Have a seat." So, and that by the time he had opened the back of the police car door, and he told me to have a seat there. And I don't know. I think I gave him my ID because I have my ID. So he ran my ID.
Did he shut the door when you got in the car? Were you sitting in the back of the car with the door shut?
Hold on.
Just relax. If I go too fast, you tell me I'm going too fast.
Yes.
Okay.
He shut the door while I was in the back of the police car.
Okay.
He got back in the front seat.
Okay.
And he started typing in his computer my name.
Okay.
Then he radioed, and then I guess after a minute they called back and said that I had city warrants.
Okay.
But while I was in the back seat, I'm looking at him pulling my information and stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that I've ever did is going to be on the computer, so I see this. Okay. My prostitution charge was way back then.
Could you see that?
Yes, I see.
You saw where it said prostitute? Okay. I didn't know if you could see the computer.
Oh, yeah,
that well.
in the back of the police car. But after a minute, they they hollered back at him and said, "She has warrants, city warrants, for McAllister," which I have warrants, city warrants in McAllister for tickets. And he got out the car, opened the door where I was at, and he said, "Well, what do you think we need to do about this?" And I said, "What do you mean? What do we need to do about this?" And he said, "Well, what do you think we need to do about this situation? What do you think we need to do?" And I was like, "What do you think? What do you mean? What do we need to do about it? Am I going to jail, or am I not going to jail, or are you taking me to jail? I mean, I don't know what you mean about what we gonna do about this." So before I know it, he had pulled this thing out.
Did you even see him do that, or was it just there?
It was there. And it was just right. I'm sitting down in the back seat, and it's like right there.
Was it hard? Okay.
And he asked me, he told me this is what he want me to do.
What did he say? This is what I want you to do, or did he tell you what to do?
Yeah.
What were his words?
He said, put this in your mouth. Or he's practically just said, here it is, put it in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Here. Okay, and then I did that for 3, maybe 4 minutes or something.
Okay.
And then he said, get back, put your feet back in.
So were you turned sideways where your feet were on the street?
Yeah. And he said, get back in. And he closed the door and he got in the police car and drove off and hit the corner.
Point on here for me.
Okay, this block right here didn't by that time.
Hang on. I'm catching up with you. Okay.
Okay. This where he got stopped. Right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is the block that I didn't get to.
Okay.
Okay. This block, he went and drove, he hit this block,
Mm-hmm.
and then he went to the right.
Mm-hmm.
There's a park where the old school was. It's an old school over there. There's a park behind the school. And he drove over the curb.
He drove over the curb.
He drove over the curb going into the playground. It's a big old field, playground, big old field. It's a couple of buildings there. And he drove and then he went around this other one building and he parked and he told me to get out and bend over.
Is that school still a school or is it vacant?
That's a vacant school. It's off of Miramar. And Miramar and Highland, it's in between. He know what the school, because his mama stayed there. He probably went to school there.
Who, the guy that brought
He
you down
probably
there?
know exactly
What's his name? I forget.
And
Okay. So he told you to get out.
he told me to get out.
Did he open the door
Yeah.
for you? Then what happened after you stood up?
He told me to pull my pants down.
Okay. What'd you say or do?
I didn't say nothing, man.
Okay, that's fine. That's okay. Did you pull your pants down?
Yeah.
Okay, then what?
Then he had sex.
Well, what position are you in?
I'm bent over from the behind.
Were you still at the car or?
Yeah,
were you...
well, I was, I bent over by the car. He opened the door, I got out, and I bent over.
Did
And facing the
he
car.
tell you to bend over?
Yeah.
Or how did he?
He told me to bend over
So he said, pull your pants down
and bend over.
and bend over?
Yes. And I was facing the car.
Were any part of your body touching the car while you were bent over? I mean, were you kind of leaning on it or no?
I
Or...
might have been leaning on it.
It's okay.
I tried to put this behind me.
I know. I don't have any. You want me to go get you some Kleenex? Some tissue? It sucks. I know it's hard to talk about. Just take your time. If you want something to drink, tell me. I'll go get you something.
I think,
If you don't know, you don't know. And tell me. I don't remember. It's okay not to remember. It's okay. We're just going to put that. I didn't know if he took you to the merry-go-round or the teeter-totter or, you know. Okay.
But then,
Let me ask you some yucky questions. You said he did it. Did he put it in your vagina or your bottom?
he put it in my vagina.
What did he have problems keeping it erect or anything?
Mm-mm.
Did he wear a condom?
I don't even know.
Did he come?
I don't even know.
Okay. Did he say anything while he was having sex with you? He didn't say a word.
No.
How long do you think that lasted?
About 10 minutes.
What do you think made him stop?
I guess because he had his mouth open.
Did he just stop? Okay. What happened after he stopped?
He said, "Have a nice night," and then he walk away.
He walked away, or you did?
He said, "Have a nice night," and let me walk.
Okay. Where'd you go?
I went back to the house.
Okay. And is that when you told Terry? What did he say?
He told me I should go and turn him in, and he said that since he did that to me, he should even probably has DNA and stuff on me, but I have been messing with him.
And you didn't want to tell Terry that?
Yeah, but I did. I told him. That's when hell broke loose, because I had to tell him that I had sex before that happened to me. So, like I said, me and Terry.
Is that what caused y'all to break up?
Me and Terry had been through going through some things for a minute, but I like I said, had been with Terry before I got with him. I had been with Terry for almost a long time. Me and Terry has been together since I was 20 years old. So that's kind of hard for me now. I'm dealing with that situation. Me and him breaking up 2 months ago, maybe 2.5 months now. I ain't been with Terry, but I still keep in contact with him. He's the one that gave me the number that she was looking for me and stuff, and asked and told me, you know what I'm saying, everything will be all right. Just, he figured it was going to be something. But yeah, I went and told Terry, and he said, well, it wouldn't be no good for you to go to the hospital having 2 DNAs in you, because you have to answer questions. And I said, well, okay. And then I thought about like this. It's the police. If I say something, I'll be harassed for the whole duration. I don't want to have to walk down the street. I don't have to every time I look around, somebody harass me over something because of what I did. Because I don't know nothing. I didn't know. I really didn't know what to do. Really, because it's the police. It's the first thing. This is the first thing that has ever happened to me like that. So it kind of messed me up a little bit. But
well, sure, because the police aren't supposed to do that. And then who do you tell the police? Who are they going to believe?
But like I said, what I'm saying is true, and if I have to, I take a lot of tests.
Sherry, I believe you. If I didn't believe you, I wouldn't have been calling you, trying to find you. Do you know anybody by the name of Terry Morris? Female.
See, the point about it is I have a lot of associates. I really don't
that
know.
You don't know that you know? That's off the top of your head. Do you know anybody by the name of Terry Morris?
I kind of, the name sounds familiar, but
What about Janie Liggins?
I don't know them by name. That's
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
That's how I don't know how somebody would know my name.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Tell me your description of him.
He's black.
He's black male.
Muscular.
How tall, could you tell?
Let me see.
You're pretty tall. How tall are you? How tall are you?
5'11".
Is he taller than you or shorter than you?
Like right here, maybe like that.
So you think he's shorter than you?
Yeah.
Okay. Did he have any facial hair? You can sit down. If you don't know, you don't know. Glasses?
Mm-mm.
No glasses?
Mm-mm.
And when you say he's muscular, how much would you like? Big muscular? Or?
You know, like work out. Like he wasn't fat, but like he worked out.
Okay. Did you see his penis? Did you pay attention? You know, like when it was right in your face?
Yeah, it's long.
Was it circumcised? Could you tell? It was?
Mm-hmm.
Could you see any pubic hair?
No, he unzipped it from his pants.
Okay.
He didn't take belts and all that off or nothing like that.
He didn't take his gun belt off or anything?
Mm-mm.
Did he threaten you in any way of if you tell?
Yeah.
Nothing. What kind of car did he have?
A black and white one.
Black and white car?
Oklahoma City police car.
Have you seen him since then?
I try not to, ma'am. After that happened, after nightfall, I'm in the house. I don't walk around. I wasn't trying to see him anymore. I just took myself in after a certain time of the day. I go in the house.
Yeah.
If I don't have much stuff from the store by that time, I'm not trying to go to the store.
Because you're afraid he might find you again?
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know if it was going to happen. I don't want it to happen again. I didn't know because he had to be patrolling the east side like that for him to just be like that. Because I don't know. I just stopped walking at nighttime. I don't know.
Would you recognize him if you saw him again? Like if I laid out 6 pictures, could you pick him out?
Probably not.
Did you ever look at his name tag?
Oh, I didn't look at anything.
How come? I mean, and I'm not questioning, I'm trying to figure out what's going through your mind.
I don't know. I just didn't.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's what everybody else asked me. Wow.
It's okay. It's okay.
Because I like I said, I tried to put this in the back of my mind because I didn't believe it. I didn't say nothing, and I just thought it would go away.
And then I called you.
Yes.
Did you have any idea when you found out I was looking for you?
At first, no. And then Terry said it was something dealing with sexual, and I said, well, that's the only thing it could be. Somebody that said something, said something about my name or something like that, because I know I didn't say nothing. So that's the only thing, because I pay my fines. So I won't go back to the penitentiary. And my tickets, I still ain't took care of them.
I'm not worried about that.
Okay, but I still ain't took care of them.
That's fine.
But until I get to where I can get in the motel room, paying $200 every week is kind of killing me right now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to school, and I have to struggle for that $200. So the fines right now, when I was supposed to went to court, I was in the penitentiary. So if they do,
Are they Oklahoma City fines or the McAllister fines?
They Oklahoma City fine. I got Oklahoma City fines.
Okay.
But if I do go to jail, I was in the penitentiary. So
they went to warrant because you weren't in court.
Yeah, but I was in the penitentiary.
Right.
So how could I go to court if I was in the penitentiary? So that'll help me out a little bit, and then I can get a payment plan. Maybe I can go from there with the fines. But as far as the county, I don't have no felony warrants or nothing like that. I've been doing real good as far as that.
Okay. Well, let me tell you this. I want to get a DNA sample from you today. And the reason I want to get a DNA sample is because I know what officer did this to you. Okay? And there is some unknown female DNA on his pants that I took. And I want to see if it's yours.
This happened 4 months ago to me.
I know, but you never know. He might be nasty and not wash his clothes. You know?
Okay.
Do you have a problem with that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. This is a waiver saying that you are going to let me, Kim Davis, and I'm a detective, and this is where we're located, are going to let me take buccal swabs. It's just Q-tips on the inside of your mouth to get a DNA sample so I can compare it to the DNA on his pants. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Sign right here. You got good handwriting. Especially for a lefty, usually we're kind of sloppy. I'm going to do 2 on one side and then 2 on the other side, okay?
I was asking my friend, I was like, all this is coming down. Am I going to do it? Should I be scared to move around and have to worry about him getting something happening to me? And
Sherry, he's not in a police car anymore. Okay? He's not working anymore. You can walk down the street, he's not out there. Okay?
they said after this is all over, I have closure. I sure hope so.
Who said that?
My friends.
I'll talk to you a little bit about
Tell them
that
to
too.
getting it off my chest. And
I'm going to give you my card. I'm going to offer you free counseling if you want it. And I'll do whatever I can to help you get closure. Okay? Do you have any questions? I'm going to go, you know, the lieutenant that brought you up here, let me go talk to him real quick and make sure that he doesn't have any more questions.
okay,
for me
well,
to
I'm
ask
gonna
you.
ask you a question.
Okay.
Like I said, I've been having a rough time right now.
Because of this or just
Just because I'm
financially or?
yes.
Okay.
So I've been paying my fine every month, but this month I'm gonna be a little late. Do you think they're gonna issue a warrant for my arrest?
On which fine? On the traffic tickets?
My fines that I have to pay, that I've been paying $50 every
Court fines or whatever. Or is it
after I went to the penitentiary.
restitution? Do you know what your fines are for?
I have to pay $50 every month. I'm on probation. After I got out of the
Okay.
penitentiary, I've been paying $50 ever since I got out in July. I've been paying $50. This is the first month.
Who's your probation officer?
I'll have a probation
Okay.
officer.
Is it through Oklahoma County?
Yeah.
Let me, tomorrow, because they're closed, I will call and find out what we can do.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe if I could just come up with like maybe $20 or something.
I'll call and find out what we can do.
Okay, just let me know and I'll try to come up with it. But I'm late because I usually send it off on the 3rd. This is the 5th.
Okay.
And I'm worried about that right now because I have to figure out if I got to go to my grandma or my mama, my Amy or somebody got to help me because right now.
Okay, I'll get an answer for you. Would you be willing to drive me to the area where I want to know where he pulled his car?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, stay here for just a minute.
You want to go right now?
Mm-hmm. But
Okay.
hang out. I'll make sure nobody else has any questions.
Okay.
Okay.
I just have to let my friend follow us because
That's
like
fine.
I say, he stay right around the corner.
Okay, hang on just a second. I'm gonna leave the door open so you kind of don't get claustrophobic.
Okay.
At this point, Detective Davis steps out of the room for approximately 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
One more question. When you described him as a black male, what, and I don't know, everybody's like, are you? Are you a medium color? What's your skin tone to you?
I'm light.
You're like, okay, what was he?
He's darker.
He's darker than you? Darker than your skin tone? Okay. So you're comfortable because I know you're nervous wreck. What if you go with Ed and we follow you to, didn't you say he lives right around the corner? And then We'll follow you there. Then you get in our car, show us where the officer picked you up, and then show us at the school, and then we'll drop you back off at Ed's.
Okay.
You comfortable doing that? Are y'all parked right in front of the building?
On the side right there.
Okay. Let me get you with them.
Okay.
And let me get our stuff so we
Yeah,
don't.
that's my support group. That's my support.
Turn right. I think he's over here. No, he's not. He went to the break room.
Immediately following this meeting, Detectives Davis and Gregory took Sherry Ellis in their car to retrace Ellis and Holtzclaw's route. According to police records, Detective Gregory took 35 photos during this time. That said, much like when Terry Morris was also taken to point out alleged crime scene locations, neither detectives bothered to audio record what must have been in-depth conversations about their allegations. A few days later, the investigators received copies of Daniel Holtzclaw's patrol car AVL and radio dispatch history from his May 7th, 2014 encounter with Ellis. And like Ellis's description of her attacker, a quote, short black man, unquote, Holtzclaw's AVL reveals problems with Ellis's allegations that detectives are apparently far too eager to dismiss.
Okay, that is the end of that little case. So I was trying to participate and chat a little bit. It looks like most of you were pretty pissed off, right? I know we are. So that's, what we're doing. We're fighting to find the truth and make sure we hopefully get justice for Daniel. Well, we will. Let me rephrase that. We will get justice for Daniel. Like Stephen and Brendan, it's not going to be a quick, easy thing. One benefit, hopefully, that we do have is that, we're in this case a little quicker, maybe, or earlier or sooner. But I don't think that really means anything when it comes down to all the different appeals and things that have to be gone through. So that is it for this episode of Just Rhonda with Kay and Sherry. If you have any questions or comments or ideas, or if you think you heard something that was a pretty big, what do they call those, Easter eggs or whatever, please come over to Discord and share with us. I'm kind of adding a few more rooms in there and moving things around a little bit at the behest of T1 on several occasions. I've put a general chat, text chat, and a general voice chat just in the welcome section of the server of the Discord. So join us over there if you have questions. We're doing lots and lots of reading and research right now, but we are usually always logged into Discord. So if you do have a question, even if you see, if one of us, if we're not online or something, at least tag us so that we can catch it, as soon as we do get logged back in. We would love to help answer any questions that you have and love to have you aboard. I'm so glad that JD joined us tonight. Hopefully you got intrigued a little bit by what you saw and heard, and you'll come over and join us in our Discord as well, Daniel's Truth. Kay and Sherry, do you have any last comments or opinions you'd like to share?
Just thank everybody for joining us, and please keep following Daniel's case and learn more about it.
Okay, what would you like to say?
I was just going to answer Susan's question about who didn't join the civil suit. So Florine Mathis didn't join, and then Sarita Bowen, from the best I can tell, she was dismissed from the suit because I guess she wasn't filing her paper. She wasn't filing the responses that she needed to file. So those two are no longer a part of the civil suit.
Okay. I thank you for mentioning a question in chat. Darkside had a question quite a while back, and I want to make sure that we answer that for her. She it's not, I mean, I typed a quick brief thing in the chat, but it really needs a little more explaining. I thought I would have Kay do that if she could, because she's much better and quicker than I am. She was asking, oh God, I don't remember the exact words, but she was asking, wouldn't there have been radio traffic? Wouldn't there have been wouldn't the calls have been radioed in or called in? And I'm trying to scroll back here to see if I can find it really quick. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, there is radio traffic.
Yeah, I told her there was radio traffic, but I didn't know if there's radio traffic, but do you want to say how they discounted the radio traffic or the radio calls, or because they knew they existed, obviously, because they were searching for all the information they could find.
Oh man, I don't know what to say about that actually.
It's hard to yeah, so there was radio traffic, and we'll probably play some of them too as we get to some of the other accusers in a few weeks, but and to us, just because he was in those locations and AVL showed that he was in those locations and whatnot, doesn't mean that he was a rapist or a serial rapist or anything like that. However, they managed to turn him into one anyway. And so even though there were radio calls, the idea was pretty much just like, well, yeah, so what? He called it in. He's covering his butt that way, but we have all this other information too. So what they did, Sherry, do you want to go ahead and explain how those tools were used?
Well, they looked up that information ahead of time, and then they used that to find the girls, to find victims, I should say, and kind of guided them to tell stories that would fit. Am I saying that right, Kay?
Yeah, I mean, so they had the advantage of, they knew that the women had been stopped by Holtzclaw there. They had the AVL, so they took the AVL from his workday. They looked up all these women. They went to the women. They told them, hey, we got a tip that you were sexually assaulted by an officer. And so he's at the scene, and then the women have the advantage of, however the detectives let him know, well, do you remember when you were stopped at, XYZ location? How many of you in the chat remember every place you've been stopped by a cop? Like in your whole freaking life. I've been stopped a lot. I could name them all. But I wasn't high on crack or anything, but that's an experience when you have to stand face to face with authority like that. You don't forget that. So they just built the case around that. But yeah, we can find the audio traffic and play it so you can hear. I mean, it really is. It's really anticlimactic because it's just him calling her in.
And they use that. Well, he's put himself at the scene, so he's there. He did it. And after we talked to each victim, long enough, we made them remember. So yeah.
Who would really call their location in before they're going to rape someone?
Right.
Who would do that? Call them all in. Nobody would do that.
Linda says, what about being stopped by the black cop? Any stopped by him? Well,
we don't know yet.
Yeah, that's some digging that we're working on. Nothing has been found yet necessarily, because it could be, I don't know. It might just be it might be things that we are going to have to FOIA. I don't know, but we haven't been able to find any information yet, but hopefully we will. So, if any of you guys, in chat can find a way or know of a way, then, go to it. Let us know. Help us out. Help Daniel out. Susan says, I had a Chicago cop give me his number one time about 35 years ago. I remember it well. Yeah. See?
Yeah.
All those years ago, huh? Strange that you can remember that. Oh, so yeah, just if hopefully we can, was it an illegal? I mean, was it a traffic stop, Susan? Yeah, that just sucks. What's the number? And then Darkside says, but if the other cop phoned in to check her out, should his badge number not come up in call, or his number? Again, Darkside, those are some of the questions that we're asking and researching. Susan, I was pretty hot back then. Laugh out loud. Yes, it was a stop. You're pretty hot now. What do you mean back then? Come on now. But those are yeah, so me too, Jack. I recall, I can tell you every time I've ever been stopped by a cop and what the reason was. And I'm getting up there in years. I'll be 59 years old this year. So, when I'm 59, who knows, I might have forgotten it all, but for now, I'm still older than all of these other ladies were, and I can remember. So, so anyway, please jump aboard, and just you guys, there are plenty of you in our chat right now that are good at researching. You guys have had lots of experience with Stephen and Brendan's case and other cases that you've been worked. JD says, bet it was KK. Kid crafts. Nice, JD. Oh god, that's funny. Anyway, so jump into Discord or do your own thing, or however you can do it or want to do it or know how to do it, and let's help us all help Daniel. If nobody else has anything left, I think we're gonna go ahead and Kay, did you have anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. I just want to remind everybody that we'll be back on Thursday for our bookcast, Death and Justice with Daniel Holtzclaw, and we'll be discussing rather chapter 3. So hopefully you're caught up over in our Discord, and you can join us on the panel if you'd like, or if you've read chapter 3 or listened to chapter 3, hopefully you can come in and chat with us if you'd like to and share your opinions. But we'll be here Thursday, 5 p.m. 6 p.m. Central. I'm on Mountain Time, so that's so hard for me to say the Central Time. So 6 p.m. Central Thursday night, and we'll be doing it from Discord so that you can jump in and join in the chat if you'd like to. And then also, I want to remind everybody, or tell if you don't already know, oh geez, JD, you got lots of learning to do. You need to hit us up in Discord. He wants to know who is Daniel and what has he done or didn't do.
Hook him
So
up with the podcast.
yeah. Can one of the mods drop the podcast link in there for right now, and then maybe we can get him to join us over in Discord as well. But last thing I wanted to remind everybody is we still have some of our masks left. I've sent most of them to Kay. I've sent all of them to Kay and Cherie because they leave their houses and I don't, for mailing purposes. So, yes, Jack, do you want to put that link in there as well? Or whoever, the Daniel and the Den link again. So if you're interested in the donation, the $25 donation to for the mask, please let one of us know in Discord, and we'll make sure that you get one. I mean, I don't know how many we have left. I don't know. I think we've got some left. I don't know how many it is, but all of the money for the masks, 100% of the proceeds are going to go to us to purchasing the transcripts, the trial transcripts. And once whoever donates donates the money and gets the mask, we'll get a link to the transcripts. And once we're able to purchase them, we're just under $6,000, I believe, for the total cost of the transcripts that we have to get. So we do need lots of help, lots of support. Team Daniel on Facebook they're selling calendars for Daniel, of Daniel. Those are pretty cool calendars. I got mine and they're pretty nice. And that's a $30 donation, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, right, Kay?
Right.
And so if if you're interested in either one of those, please let any of us know and we'll be happy to hook you up. And with that said, we're going to say goodnight and we'll see you guys all on Thursday. Peace out.